Hello everyone and welcome to Chip and Chase, the NRL Fan Podcast. This is episode number 27. My name is Steve and this is my mate Dave. Hey Dave.
Wow, good Steve, how are you mate? We've come a long way, 27 episodes.
I know we have. In this episode we're going to be covering games from round 24 of the 2022 NRL season before previewing the final and 25th round of the season, heading into semi-finals after that. So a big round of footy coming up, but we've just had a very exciting round of rugby league just gone. For
sure, mate. There was a lot of kind of real good matchups, and I thought a lot of games delivered over the weekend in terms of entertainment and that, which was good to see.
Yeah, indeed, and a lot to look forward to, but let's look back at this round that just went. Before we do get into what happened in the round, let's have a look at some judiciary news. And what we do have is a couple of fans, a couple of players, I should say, looking like they're getting bans. Brian Kelly faces a long stint on the sideline after he was charged with a grade 3 dangerous throw, which resulted in the centre being sent off during the Knights game. He faces a 4-match ban with the early guilty plea, so that's probably the worst of the lot. And
that was similar to Cleary's, Steve.
Yeah, in that he picked him up, had his hands between his legs, and then drove him into the ground.
One player, and it's good to see that the kind of they're making kind of what's it called?
Taking a stance against these kind of tackles.
Yeah, against this. If you're going to do something like that, you're just going to be looking at a lengthy ban on the sideline, and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The only one that maybe affects the top 8 teams is Cohen Hess. His hit on South Sydney player Campbell Graham was deemed a grade 2 high tackle careless offence. There was a bit of a head clash in that one as well, but it's similar to a previous tackle where he's gone in really hard, really recklessly, in that he really didn't take care or have any control over where he was going to hit. And so, there was a lot of conjecture over that one. People saying, it's a head clash, or what did you want him to do? Or, Phil Gould was pretty outspoken about this one. But I'm of the opinion, if you're going to rush out like that and, make a massive hit on a player, you've got to be very careful about where you're hitting them and what kind of contact you're making, because even head clashes, that's avoidable if he doesn't go in with such reckless abandon.
For sure, you got to show some respect to yourself and to the opponent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're leading in with your head, you could cause yourself or the other player a bad injury. So yeah, definitely want that rubbed out of the game quickly.
Yeah, and the other ones from like Regan Campbell-Gillard, Jordan Ricky, Nelson Solomona, Jared Warrior-Hargreaves, Victor Radley. I think they're all getting fines, so there's no suspensions there. So that's where we are with the with judiciary news for this week, with big games coming up. But let's have a look with the Thursday night game. And that one, to start the round, was the Eels up against the Broncos at Suncorp Stadium. And this was a shellacking, with the Parramatta Eels victorious to the tune of 53-6 in front of just over 30,000 fans at Suncorp. Bumper crowd, but bumper score by the Eels.
Yeah, look, it was a big game in the context of positioning of the ladder for both teams, and the Eels just blitzed them, mate. They absolutely blitzed them, which was, I kind of saw this coming. We've got a good record up at Suncorp, especially getting close to the semis.
Yeah.
So I thought they might go up there and let loose, and they did, man. I thought Para as a whole team, real complete performance. They looked direct. They looked like they knew what they were doing. They were defending well for each other, and that. So very impressed with the performance there by him, Steve.
And they pretty much went on with it in the second half, which has been a criticism of Parramatta when they have put on a first half score, is that they kind of take their foot off the pedal in the second 40 minutes. But they were leading 31-6 at half time, and then not quite doubled their score to get to 53, but they were slow in that first 20-minute period of the second half. But in the last 20 minutes, really went on with it and scored tries in the 65th, 67th, and 79th minute. So 4 tries in that last 20-minute period to really seal the deal. But really good performance by the Eels. tries all across the park. Gutho getting a double. And Opacek also. I've really been impressed with Opacek of late. He seems to be a solid defender, solid attacker. Just seems to be really doing his job for a player that really hasn't set the world on fire previously, but he seems to be really doing well this year.
Bit of a silent achiever, and in that centre position for Para, over the years we've always had a centre like that, Steve. That just flies under the radar, but is solid and does his job. Does his job and does all the important things right. So good to see him getting in there and scoring a couple of tries this time. King Gutherson, man, he's absolutely everywhere on the field. He really points the boys around and they rally in front of him. I was really impressed with Gutho. And what about Sean Lane, Steve? I mean,
he's really been your best player all year.
Have you seen a more dominant performance in the last 4 weeks by a back rower? I mean, he's just been ripping through them, ripping them to shreds, man. Yeah,
he's doing really well and seems to be building a great combination with the 5'8" there in Dylan Brown. So they're doing really well together and understanding each other's game. And well done to the Eels. A good victory there over the Broncos, as I said, 53-6. And the Broncos really had everything to play for to seal that top 8 position. And now, because of the Canberra result, which we'll get to, they're in 9th. So they're missing out on the 8th because of a really poor performance. And supposedly, Kevy Walters ripped into them after the game. And a lot of the players were shocked and are not impressed with the way he spoke to them, supposedly, by all accounts.
I saw footage of that in the sheds after the game, yeah.
He was really remonstrating with them. But that's first grade. If you're not going to be putting your best performance forward, then the coach is going to rip in, and so they deserved it.
Every right to. He had every right to.
All right, game 2 of the round was the. Just trying to get there. It is. It was the Panthers up against the Warriors. This one played at Bluebet Stadium in Penrith in front of 17,000 fans, and another big score, 46-12. Warriors really had no answer. They scored in the second minute of the game, which was like, oh, maybe we've got an upset on the cards here. But that wasn't to be. The Panthers got into the groove, had their 5'8" back after his injury stint. They get back their halfback next week. So, it's just Luai was impressive without doing
good on return.
Yeah, without doing, anything exceptional. He's just as solid in his return. And the Panthers 46-12, leading 22-6 at halftime. You knew it was just, okay, they'll just do the second thing, rinse and repeat in the second half.
Yeah, mate, it just, the Panthers began to have a party and just celebrate their minor premiership in this game, I think. Just blew away there. Isaiah Yeo topped the tackle count with 50 tackles. I think Steve is back to his best.
Yeah, 2 tries.
With a double, and he ran for 220 metres too, so at his devastating running best. And I think little O'Sullivan, he's going really good for him there.
He's doing really well. Sean O'Sullivan, I think he's off to the the Dolphins next year.
Yep.
And he's going to be a really good buy for them because he's learnt a lot under Cleary there at the Panthers. He stepped up when Cleary's been out with his suspension, and he was solid, leading his kicking game, his passing game, his running game. He has the whole package, so he's really come of age as far as his playing ability and being a bit of a general on the park is concerned. So well done to him. And Warriors, looking at the Mad Monday plans, not really much to play for. Sure. And the Panthers being awarded the JJ Gilton and Shield for the minor premiership, as you mentioned, solidifying that with that victory, and well done to them.
Yeah, congratulations to them. I believe that's the 3rd time in a row they've received it, so that's quite impressive.
It is, and it shows that they're definitely one of the dominant teams of this decade. And they're a young team still, so they've got years ahead of them.
Plenty in them left.
Which is scary. So well done to the Panthers, minor premiers for 2022. All right, the third game of this round was the big blockbuster game. The Roosters knocking off the Storm 18-14. This one was played at Amy Park down in Melbourne in front of 25,300 fans. It was a really exciting game. It was to and fro. It had bit of animosity, bit of argy-bargy. There was some conjecture, some sin bins. It was Roosters 14-8 at half-time, but Storm, you knew, were just never going to go away, kept fighting back. And, yeah, there was a lot of feeling in this one.
Mate, what a heated game. This was semis come early, mate.
Yep.
This game was brutal, fast, exciting, everything. It was a really, really good game to watch. As you saw, it was very, very heated, mate. There was a lot of big hits that were in this, and towards the end there, Victor Radley just got absolutely ironed out and was, on the ground in no man's land, convulsing and that, which was, a bit scary, I suppose. This is why concussions are so scary and that, this and that, because you never know later on what it's going to lead to or anything like that. So good to see him getting shaking everyone's hand at the end of the game up and around, which was awesome, absolutely awesome game to watch. Nelson Asafa-Solomona, Steve. Look, he's a big boy, but I think he's a really dirty player. He just seems to have a dirty shot in him every game on somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did come down with a nasty forearm at one stage that kind of went unpunished and unseen. But yeah, him and Waria Hargreaves were at it. Victor Radley had him in a choker hold at one stage. I don't know what that was all about. There didn't seem to be much in that, and David and Goliath. But I mean, he's got a dirty streak in him. But Waria Hargreaves is just as much a grub and got sin bin for a bit of looked like a facial, then looked like almost like a headbutt or a chin butt, if you like.
He's so silly because he actually made an awesome tackle on him.
Yeah, he did.
And then he finished it off with a dirty, grubby move.
Exactly. It's unnecessary. And with, semi-finals looming, big game against the Rabbitohs coming this week, you can't let your emotions get the best of you and, end up getting suspended or something. He got away with a fine, but, he's renowned for this. So
he was good though. Hargreaves is very strong. He did have
a tough game, but like I said, it's just always got a bit of a grub in him. Like Asafa-Solomona, they just both have walk that fine line. Victor Radley's the same. Munster got a little bit of that in him as well. Is playing for penalties and stuff like that. But all in all, I mean that's gamesmanship. These are the kinds of things that players play for. All it takes is maybe a penalty. You get the referee thinking that something's happened, gives you 2 points, and that's the game. But Roosters were just the better team on the night, only just 18-14. Could have gone either way, but well done to the Roosters, and that assures them of a top 8 position. And Melbourne are now fighting for a top 4 position with a big game against the Eels this week. And as a Para supporter and as a South Sydney supporter here, I was happy to see these two go at it hammer and tong because we play them respectively this week, and I was thinking, just go at it, boys, bash each other to death. Who cares?
Yeah, that's it, eh?
So but a big game.
I thought Matt Lodge played really well.
Yeah,
Steve.
he did.
He's going good with the Roosters there.
Yeah, he is. Another bit of a grub, but he seems to have really picked up his game and taken it to another level at the Roosters under Robinson, who's maybe helping curb his ways a little bit. So it hurts me to say it, but well done to the Roosters. All right, next up, Game 4 of the round was another big game as far as scorelines were concerned, and there was a lot riding on this game for Canberra. And they were victorious 48-6 over Manly at GIO Stadium in Canberra in front of just over 16,500 fans. Canberra just too good tonight, had a lot to play for. Manly have gone downhill since the Pride jersey fiasco a month ago and have never rallied after that. And you've got to think that there's a lot going on there behind the scenes that we don't know about because Manly just don't capitulate like this under normal circumstances. And it's not like they've got a lot of players missing or anything. They've still got their halves and everything. Okay, Tom Trbojevic is not there, and they probably wouldn't get beaten with a player like him on the park. But 48-6, what a scoreline!
Bit of a sad end to the year for Manly and their supporters, I think. But look, Raiders playing for their absolute competition life here, and they were G'd for this one. It was 28-0 at half time, so it was almost over at half time. Lachlan Croker topped the tackle count with 50 tackles, and Hudson Young, who's in in real good form, scored a double for the Raiders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all across the park, Canberra did really well. All their players stepping up, knowing that all they had to do was get a victory to get that 8th position because they're for and against. I think it was like -1 compared to the Broncos. They just needed 1 or 2 points to a win, and they ended up with 48. So their for and against is way better now than the Broncos, and so they're sitting in 8th position. And
they're loving life. They're still a chance here, Steve.
Well, very much a chance because they play the Tigers this coming week, which there's no easy game in the NRL, but you'd think that that's the best draw that you could get as a player, as a team trying to make the 8, coming up against a team that's not expected to beat you, and where I think it's Broncos are playing the Dragons, and that game could go either way. So Canberra have the best of that draw for this week to make the 8th position, regardless of whatever the Broncos do. Raiders just have to win and they're in.
Yeah.
And stay in.
Steve, don't they like that fiery ranger up there, Horsburgh? He seems to be becoming a bit of a cult hero at Canberra, I heard.
With gorgeous red hair, why would you shave it?
Yeah, definitely. Look, in this game, I thought all the big players stepped up. Jamal Fogarty had a good game. Jordan Rapana had a blinder, and I thought Wyden had a stellar game for him, getting him home in this one. Yeah,
it's a great win by the Raiders. Ricky Stewart would be very happy with that victory, which solidified their position in the 8th, I should say, with that win. And now it's just up to them to beat the Tigers, as I said, this week, and they stay in 8th position. So
yes,
well done to the Raiders, making it top 8 with that victory. All right, next up was the Sharks up against the Bulldogs. This was pretty much a dull game. There wasn't much in it. It was 10-0 at halftime. Sharks only went on to score another 6 points in the second half. 16-0 the final score. But really, there was not much to write about in this game. It was pretty dull affair.
It was. There was not much happening here in this game. Sharks winning 16-0. I think for the Sharks, it was probably... They were just hoping to come out unscathed out of this game without any injuries.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're sitting on second spot now on the ladder, which they're kind of skipping under the radar. Not a lot of people are talking about Cronulla. Totally. Everyone's talking about, Melbourne, Penrith, the Roosters, Cowboys. But, I mean, Cronulla are sitting second spot and will get a home semi-final if they can hold on to that spot. And that, I've heard, will be at Shark Park if that's the case. So everything's working in their favour. Like I said, all they had to do was rock up and win, and that's probably much all they did. They didn't, go on with it. But 2 points is 2 points, and they'll be happy with that. Not necessarily happy with the way they went about it, but they did enough to win, and that's probably all that counts at this point in time, and not come away with any injuries, as you said.
Yeah. Mulatalo scoring a double there. He's always can find the line, so well done to him. Hines, I thought, and Moylan had really good game for him, even though not many points were scored. The points that did come were off the back of them too. And Sasoyef, what's his name? Talakai?
Yes. Yep.
Running for 210 metres, so a big running game from the centre out there.
Sasoyef Talakai, yeah. So well done to the Cronulla Sharks, victorious over the Dogs. Dogs. While they've been better this year, still not putting on a great performance there against the Sharks.
They look to next year now, the Dogs.
They do. They're getting some players coming their way for 2023, and we'll be looking forward to that. The game that I took you to, we went out to this one at Accor Stadium. The Rabbitohs up against the Cowboys, another big top 8 clash. Rabbitohs winning 20-10. It was a mistake-riddled game by both teams. South's completion rate was not where they would like it to be, but they were better than the Cowboys, and that's all you need to do at this point in the season is get those 2 points, because this was a big game for the Rabbitohs. If they'd lost to the Cowboys, lost to the Roosters this coming week, and
they were at risk.
They were at risk of missing out on the 8. We're now, having beaten the Cowboys, they're in the 8, they can't miss out, and that's got to be pleasing. It is for me as a South fan, happy that they're going to be in the 8, going to be in the semi-final race. This was never a game that you were very comfortable sitting back as a fan. You're always thinking anything could happen, but South's just doing enough, And when Thomas Burgess scored in the 78th minute, it was like, thank you, we can cheer now and be comfortable.
Big Tom Burgess going over.
But yeah, it was a good, entertaining game, but didn't reach any great heights.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of going with you to this one, and I'll tell you what, Steve, I was really impressed by Souths, even though you said it was a bit scrappy. There was a lot of drop ball from both teams, but you just told the scenario there. This was a much bigger game than people could actually imagine, and it was really close and intense all the way to the death there. And you know, Bunny's making a couple of mistakes, uncharacteristic mistakes.
Yeah.
Which I thought just had everyone really nervous till the end of the game. But they came home very, very strong in the end. Tom Burgess, as he said, scoring the winning try. Good luck to him. And what about Kyle Phelps?
Yeah.
Try where he kicked it and then kicked it again and got it down. I thought that was a brilliant try, but it was good to attend this game, and happy to see you leave with a big smile on your face.
Yeah, well, it was a big game, and there was a lot riding on it. 15,264 fans there at Accor Stadium. It was a good night for it. There was a massive crowd next door with the Kiss concert happening at the same time, which caused a bit of havoc getting in with the traffic. But I'd much rather be at a Souths victory, and I was happy. Yeah, he was the try that you talked about. I was disappointed in Latrell's positioning as fullback. He does a bit of ball watching from time to time. It's like, oh, okay, I should be over there. And this is a hit that we mentioned that saw Hess get suspended. Yeah,
it was brutal. I thought Matangi, Steve, mate. He had
Matangi.
Blinding game for you. This was really, really strong. And I thought Campbell Graham was good for his that night out on the edge.
Yeah, I love having him back in the team. It's great to have him there. We missed Cook, who is now down with COVID, and we'll have to wait and see whether the restrictions enable him to come back to play against the Roosters this week. He was missed. You could tell that the service from dummy half, well, not bad by Saliva Havili, and then what's his name coming on the bench, Nikorima.
Cody.
Yeah, Cody Nikorima. Their service is not as sharp as Cook, and you could tell that the Cowboys were on top of South really quickly with their rushing defence, and some of those fifth tackle options just didn't go where they needed to be because of the service from dummy half. So.
No, for sure. You'd be hoping that he gets cleared and is able to play against the Roosters, because definitely he gets his on the front foot and gets his going forward. So, fingers crossed. I want to see him play that game, so hopefully he gets through for us.
Wait and see.
Yep.
All right, then the next game that we have to look at was the 7th game of the round. This one was the Tigers up against the St. George Illawarra Dragons. 24-22, a close game. Nothing riding on this game. There was nothing, didn't have any ramifications for the top 8. It was just a game to see, who would win. And there was just under 10,000 fans there at Combank Stadium in Parramatta.
Beautiful day.
Great day for footy. Dragons, as I said, winning 24-22. Didn't look that convincing. They were losing 16-6 at half-time, but managed to come on in the second half through tries like with Lomax and Jackson Ford scoring tries, and the Tigers. It was 4 tries each, but there were penalty goals and sin bins that just made it a game that the Dragons won by 2 points. That was all that was in it.
Yeah. Man, look, I looked at both the Sunday games and I thought we'd have a couple of dead rubbers, so to speak.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, both games were quite entertaining. I think just people were prepared to throw the ball around and have a bit of a dig. So I thought it was entertaining. And Tom Freeburn on debut scored a double.
Yep. Well
so
done
it was good to see
him.
that kid getting a couple on debut.
And as we said, sin bins, Kapoa, Cody Ramsey, Jack Bird, all being sin bin in this game. So a little bit a fiery game, but both teams looking. I mean, Tigers want to get off the bottom of the ladder. It just didn't happen for them. Dragons frustrated they weren't able to make the 8. So, a few things happening in this game, but nevertheless, that's the way it is. And Jack Bird there remonstrating with the referee, and then I think that's it. Sorry, pal, you're off to the bin.
Yeah. It was what it was for Jack Bird. You just got to keep your mouth shut.
Yep, so good game. Dragons 24-22. And then looking at the final game of the round, another really nothing game as far as top 8 contention is concerned. Yep. This one was the Titans up against the Knights, 36-26. I don't know why I tipped the Knights. I just thought try something different. But the Titans were too good. There was 11,800 fans there at Seabar Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. The Titans led 24-10 at halftime. Knights made a bit of a comeback, scored a couple of tries, but then so did the Titans, and it was just like it was all done and dusted, 7 tries to 5. And not a great start to the game with Titans kicking out on the full from the first whistle. So, good victory to the Titans, 36-26.
Yeah, again, it was a bit of a doozy, this one, but nonetheless, an entertaining game, I thought. AJ Brimson, I'm really starting to like him, Steve. He's had a really good season this year, and I'm looking forward to what he might be able to do in the coming years. Dave Clemmer topped the tackle count with 49 tackles. Like I said, it was just free-flowing. They were throwing the ball around. Teams were scoring tries. I mean, you've got nearly 60 points scored in this one match, you know what I mean? So it was nice to watch, but I think teams like that just coming to the realisation that they'll only be playing one more round this round and their season is over. Yeah, exactly.
And Brian Kelly getting sent off in the 51st minute made me think that maybe the Knights with 13 versus 12 might be able to steal a victory, but they really didn't take advantage of the extra man at all. And Gagai had a pretty good game, scored a double, and looked like he set the clock back a little bit. But nevertheless, as I said, Titans too good, winning over the Knights to wrap up round 24 of the season. And now we look at see where the ladder is at this point. And as you can see, as we said, the Panthers sitting on top, winning the minor premiership, 42 points. Then the Sharks sitting second outright on 36 points. Cowboys third on 34 points. And then the Storm, the Eels, both on 32. Big game this week. The Storm and the Eels playing each other to see who will take that top 4 position. And then you've got the Roosters on 30 points and Rabbits on 30 points. They play each other this week as well, so that's an interesting game. Although the only reason that would kind of matter is if Para do win, then the Roosters and the Rabbitohs would end up playing each other again in the first week of the semi-finals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Not ideal at all.
If Para lose, then there's, because you're for and against, either South or the Roosters will go into 5th spot, and then Para will play the other team that loses. And Raiders on 28 points make up the 8th position. They can't go any higher than 8 because their for and against is, even if the other teams lose above them, they'll be equal on 30 with them. Their for and against isn't as good, and they need it like over 100 points to make up that differential, so that's not going to happen. The only thing the Raiders need to look out for is if they don't beat the Tigers this week and the Broncos beat the Dragons, then the Broncos will make the 8.
They drop back out and Broncos go back in.
Yeah.
So
some things to happen this week for
they'll be desperate, both teams, whoever they're playing. Actually, some big games coming up this weekend. We'll have a look at them now.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's have a look at round 25. This is what we have to look forward to. As I mentioned, the first game is the Eels hosting the Melbourne Storm, 5th versus 4th. This is at 10 to 8 on Thursday night at CommBank Stadium. A big game. Top 4 position up for grabs.
Yeah, definitely. Big game, this one. Look, Steve, it's 1 week out from the semis, and I've officially gone into semi-final zone. I'm just going to keep quiet, not say too much, and give you my tips, okay?
Okay, so who are you tipping in this one?
Parramatta.
Okay. This is a toss of the coin for me. I'm going to go Storm, only because I hope I don't want to play the Roosters 2 weeks in a row.
Fair call. Yeah, cool.
That's the only reason. Not that I don't think Parramatta can win, especially at home, but I'm just going to go Storm on that one.
There you go. Steve's counting on the Storm.
Game 2 of the round. This one doesn't have any top 8 ramifications, nothing to do with the semi-finals, but nevertheless, Bulldogs up against the Sea Eagles, 12th versus 11th. This one at Accor Stadium. Bulldogs taking a home game there. 6 p.m. Friday night. I'm going to go... This could go either way. Manly have been playing crap. The Bulldogs are not much better, although they have in recent weeks done a fair job. But I'm just going to go Manly to finish off the season better than the Bulldogs.
Yes, hopefully a fun game for both teams, it being the last game of the season for both teams, so I'm picking Dogs.
Okay, so we differ on both so far.
Mm-hmm.
Then the big one for me, 7:55 p.m. kickoff Friday night at Allianz Stadium. Roosters up against the Rabbitohs, 6th versus 7th. We've spoken about the ramifications with this one. Look, Roosters are playing really well. I don't think Victor Radley will play, or he shouldn't after that concussion that he received.
Definitely shouldn't.
There's, whether a Cook plays or not, there's also another
up in the air
question to be asked, but I'm just going to go Rabbitohs, bet with my heart.
Fair enough. Like I said, I'm not saying too much at this point in time. Roosters.
Okay, so 3 that we differ on.
Mm-hmm.
Another game that doesn't mean anything for the top 8 for semi-finals, the 3 p.m. Saturday kickoff game. Warriors 14th, Titans 15th. This one played at Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland, the final game for both these teams. Because they're at home, Warriors.
We differ again.
Oh, really? You're going Titans? Okay.
Titans. I thought they done enough. Not done enough, but played really well in their last match. I think they'll end their season like that.
Okay. Then a game that means a lot for the Broncos, depending on what happens with the Raiders, but the Raiders game is after theirs, so they've got to win this regardless. And that's, again, 10th versus 9th, so a lot of these games are very close for the teams on the ladder. This is the 5:30 p.m. kickoff at Netstrata Jubilee Stadium in Cogra. This is Dragons up against the Broncos. Because they've got everything to play for, even though they've been on the slippery slide, I'm going to go Broncos.
So that's Broncos will actually potentially be in the top 8 for 24 hours until Canberra play.
Correct.
That would be so slack, eh? If they win, make it, and then all right, Broncos, man. You have to say Broncos.
Yeah, they got everything to play for
their competition life.
Exactly. And then Cowboys up against the Panthers. This is another big one. First versus third. Cowboys taking this, obviously having this game at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. They didn't really impress me that much, the Cowboys, the other night. And Panthers with Luai back with another week. I actually think that he might be rested this week. There's talk that they might rest Luai. He came back for that one game. There's not a lot to play for Penrith. They're already secured the first place position, so they might rest a few players here, which could be very interesting, but I don't know. I still think Panthers' next man up mentality will be able to beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they rested a few here. But I mean, again, Cowboys have been really impressive, but the other Saturday night of the game, I thought South were very impressive and done something that no one could do to the Cowboys for a few weeks. So I've actually got Cowboys down here, thinking that they're strong enough to win, but I'm just going to change it around after the whole Cowboys-Rabbits game. I know, I had already been to the game, but put me down for Cowboys, Steve.
So you sticking with Cowboys?
Sorry, put me down for Panthers, Steve.
Okay, Panthers it is.
Confusing myself, mate.
Yeah. Then the 7th game, Knight's done for the season, but the Sharks in second spot will want to put on a performance leading into the semi-finals. This one is at Newcastle at McDonald Jones Stadium at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Be a good crowd up there. The Knights always pull a good crowd, but I think the Sharks will be too good and will want to put a performance on so that they can go into the semi-finals with a bit of momentum. So I'm going to go Sharks.
Yeah, put me down for Sharkies.
Then the final game of the round, as we said, this will be the one that determines the 8th position on the ladder if the Broncos win against the Dragons. The Raiders will want to put on a victory against the Tigers, who are also trying to miss out on the wooden spoon, which has been our tip all year that they would get it. This is at 4:05pm kickoff on the Sunday. Leichhardt Oval is the venue. A bumper crowd there, I'm sure, to say goodbye to the season for the Tigers. But I'm going to say Raiders with much more to play for in this one.
I was going to say, do you want to go to this one? This is Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This should be a good game. Like you said, Tigers could potentially spoil the party for Canberra and make them not make the 8.
Mm-hmm.
But Raiders, I think, coming home with a bit of with some strengths. I thought they looked good in the last game, so I'm tipping Raiders here.
Yes. Okay.
But wouldn't it be funny, Steve, if Dragons beat Broncos and then Tigers beat Raiders and
Raiders make the 8 regardless?
Raiders make the 8 regardless.
Yeah. Well, that's the case. They'll know in advance whether or not the Broncos have stolen the 8th spot or not. So it'll be interesting going. It's a hard one to tip, knowing that there's things that could be happening. Whether if the Broncos lose and the Raiders know they've got 8th place sewn up, will Ricky maybe rest some players, some key players,
100%.
knowing that they got semi-finals the next week and not worry about whether or not they win?
Put your B grade team on, mate, for that game.
Very possible. So lot of water to go under the bridge, as they say. But that's the round. That's our tips. A lot to look forward to. Very exciting round of rugby league coming up. As you said, semi-finals seem to have come early. So looking forward to these matchups this weekend.
Yep, definitely, man. That's a wrap. There are some massive games. So look forward to talking to you next Monday about the coming round.
Yep, looking forward to that. Thanks everyone for joining us once again on Chip and Chase, the NRL Fan Podcast. I'm Steve. That was Dave. Thanks, Dave. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Stevie. See you guys.
Take care. Bye.